Hey there, family. How are you on this beautiful Friday? Well, it's beautiful, but it's hot. I am back from Miami and headed to go and handle some business. And I was riding and I was thinking about y'all. We did not do Relationship Thursday yesterday because Auntie had to take a break. I needed some time. So I took a break, but I stopped. I just left, get my hair did. I had to get my hair did. I'll be on set all day tomorrow. So I had some things I had to do. But before I get started into my topic, gotta remind you, you must be in the building. I want to meet you in Atlanta. As long as you're not crazy. I got some crazies that inbox me. Crazies, stay away, okay? You might not want to come to that because my security gonna be tight, okay? Because some of y'all done sent me some very interesting, things saying, I got plans for us and I just want to be with you. And that's a little weird. That's weird, a sister out. That weird auntie out. Y'all can't do that. But if you in your right mind, make sure you come and join me June 25th, the day before my birthday. I will be doing a meet and greet, a mini seminar. So you guys will be able to get a little bit more in depth about what Are You an Asset? 10 Keys to Being a Woman Who Brings More to the Table is all about. And we are trying to do our part to bring women back to femininity, back to the place where God has placed us, and stop being strong for the wrong reasons, okay? So that's June 25th. Make sure you go to areyouanasset.com. I will be in the Bay Area July 30th, doing it all over again, so you can register there too. And we do have some sponsor opportunities available as well. So make sure that you guys go sign up for those sponsorship opportunities, as well as join me in Atlanta, June 25th, and in the Bay Area, my home state, California. Join me in the Yay area. So here's my thing. I hear people say, I got a standard, right? But when you ask them what the standard is, they really don't have one. It just sounds good to say that I have a standard. It sounds good to say I'm not settling. He gonna have to bring it or she gonna have to bring it. It sounds good. But my question to you is, do you really have a standard, and are you settling and not know it? Most of us, I'm included, I have done this in the past, prior to learning the difference between having a standard, compromising, and settling. Well, I realized that I have been settling for a long time. And maybe you can identify with this. If you have not identified who you are at your core, you are settling. Whoever you're with and whatever you're doing in your life, it's all settle. Because how can you be, especially those of you that are single or, dating, how can you be in a relationship with someone or have a standard of these itemized things that you have to have, but you have not identified who you are yet, which means you don't know what you really want or what you actually really need. It becomes a need versus a want. Okay, I'm trying to keep the air off so y'all can hear. It becomes a need. It's all about your need versus what you say you want. So most people are actually settling and don't even know it. So if you are one of those people that always screaming, I'm not supposed to settle, and I got this standard, my question to you is, what actually is your standard? What measures what your standard is? And how can you have a standard if you don't know who you are? Because that means you don't know what you represent. You don't know what you bring to the table. And like I said, women, we always think because I bring, I got a good job, I'm cute, I got a nice little core, I work at the bank, I'm a CEO, I do all of these things. That is not what makes you a good woman. That's not the test to determine if you are a good woman or not. Those are the byproducts of what you've accomplished, but that's not who you are. And if you strip all of those things away, who would you be? So if you're going to say I have a standard and I'm not settling, the only way that has some validity is if you know who you are. If you don't know who you are, if you haven't taken the time to figure out, I need this kind of person in my life, these kind of things move me. I'm all for this humanity thing. I got a compassionate person. I like to do arts and crafts. And when you start finding out and digging more into who you are, I like to garden. I like to knit. I like to, I like to go take adventures. I like to travel. When you find out all of those things within you that you like, and what is important to you, is honesty important to you, is loyalty important to you, is someone being a good communicator, not just in a romantic relationship, but across the board. This all goes about across your life. What do you stand for? What do you value? What holds true close to your heart? If you don't know those things, darling, I'm sorry to tell you, but you are settling because you don't know who you are. And so that means you're just going with the flow, because it sounds good to say you're not settling, but what aren't you settling for? Well, I ain't settling for no liar, no cheat. That's basic stuff. None of us want to settle for a liar, a cheater, somebody that is just a freeloader. All that's basic stuff. But it goes deeper than that. That's surface stuff. So it's time to go beyond the surface and ask yourself, why do I run around screaming, I'm not lowering my standard when I've never identified who I really am? Boop. So settling and compromise are two different things, and I'll break that down for you real quick. Some of you, you're equating settling with compromise. Like, for instance, you'll say, well, I'm not settling. I got to have a man that can make X amount of dollars. He got to be able to provide. Now, being a provider doesn't mean he makes six figures. So you got to ask yourself, do I want a man that makes six figures? Because you hear a lot of women screaming that. Do I want a man that makes six figures, or do I want a man that can provide and take care of the household? Now, that's something that once you identify what that thing is, if it's a dollar amount or if it's the ability to provide, you'll be able to determine if that's something you are settling for, if that's one of your core needs, six figures, or if it's something you can compromise on, because you're not asking for six figures, but you're asking more from the overall, when you pull all of the stuff about, from over it, it's, I want a man that can provide. Is it, I want a woman that, she got to be a banger, she got to have a nice body and all of those things. Those are things that you can compromise on. But would you rather have a woman that got a banging body and pretty face, but she has no sense nowhere? So we kind of put some things in there that we say we cannot settle for, but they're superficial things. I know how the ladies, we talk about, we don't want no short brother and all of that kind of thing. Okay, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But at the same time, if you are like me and 5'3", and I had the syndrome too. I have the syndrome too, because I'm 5'3", but I just drew men that were over 6 foot. So I just started liking that. Yeah. And so I would not date anybody that was like 5'7", 5'8". And so if I chose to date them, that's not me settling. That is me making a compromise, because I see overall he's a good guy, and him being 5'7" should not hinder me dating him. So I'm just saying, when you ask yourself those questions, are the things you're saying you can't settle for, are they superficial things? Is it material things? Now, of course, fellas, don't get it twisted. I talked to y'all about this before. We don't want no gold diggers. Most of y'all ain't got no gold nor silver or bronze. Some of y'all not even hundredaires, let alone thousand or millionaires. So let's get that off the table right now. But at the same time, most women, we are, it's ingrained in us to look for someone and to be with someone that can provide. That's what we are. It's in us. So don't knock us for that. Just like we don't knock y'all for being visual beings and looking for that pretty girl. We don't knock y'all for that. So ask yourself, am I holding things that are superficial and putting them in the settling category when they should be in the compromise category? And do I really know what I'm not settling for if I don't know who I am? You can't really say that. And a lot of women are running around here screaming that, and you don't know what you're saying. You don't know why you're saying what you're saying. So you have to ask yourself those hard questions. You might have somebody fantastic in front of you that want to be with you, but they might not make the money that you think that they should make because you have a dollar amount set. But yet you're not looking at the bigger picture. You're not looking at, they take care of themselves, their bills are paid on time, they're self-sufficient. You overlook that because they might make $40,000, $50,000 a year, but you're not looking at what they have. They're doing great and being a good steward with what they have. So, you got to ask yourself the hard questions. Are you settling and not knowing because you don't know what the standard is because you have not gotten to know you? So you really don't know really if you're settling or not. I mean, it's like, how can you say that when everything you say you're not settling for is all superficial things? What happened to, who the person is at their core? But you won't know to look for core things because you don't know who you are at your core. You have not taken the time to find out who you are at your core. No, we all won't settle. When you know who you are at your core, you don't you settle things and compromise things. Most people settle because they're putting things in that can be compromised on into the settling category. And the settling category should be reserved for what your core needs are. When you know what your core needs are, you will never settle on core needs because it's how you are wired. It's how you are functioning. And it's kind of like you're made to need certain things, and you can't settle on those things because you can't settle on those things because they are the very thing that make you who you are. So will we compromise? Absolutely. But we will never, if you understand what that means, you will never settle on your core needs. And to be honest with you, your core needs is normally about less than 5 things. All that other 72 doggone things that you got on your list, those may be things that can compromise on, or those could be things that you just want. But when you know who you are at your core, you will never, ever, ever settle on those things. But most people don't know. That's why they're saying, well, everybody will settle. When you know your core needs, you will not. You will not settle when you know what your core needs are. You will compromise when you know, when you are in a position to say, do I want light, dark, short, tall? Okay, he might not be as business oriented that I need him to be, but he is smart in this area. Those are things you can compromise on. But it's the core stuff. And most people that scream, I'm not settling, they don't know the core stuff. They don't know who they are. That's why I always tell you, before you make decisions, before you get in relationships, and this is some things that I wish I would have known prior to when I, getting married, or I might not have been divorced today. I didn't know what my core needs were. I went by what they say, whoever the crap they are, what they say I should have. Not finding out who April is at her core, and then not even wasting my time dating men that are nowhere near close to that, because we're taught if you got an education, if you got a good job, he got good character, he's a good guy. But that is a good guy, but maybe not my good guy. What about the 80-20? This is my belief about the 80-20 rule. Even if your core need is inside the 20%, you're still not going to get with that person, because you can give me 80% of what I want. But if a couple of my core needs you cannot provide me with, and that falls over into the 20% category, I still can't get with you, because that's not something that I can settle on. If I can settle on my, if it's something I can compromise on, that's different. But if my core need that you do not bring me is inside that 20%, I still can't get with you. So that's where people make the mistake too when it comes to the 80-20 rule. Well, you're not going to get 100% of what you want. You can get your core needs met. It's the other stuff that you can compromise on. Compromisable things should be over in the 20%. But core needs should never be over in the 20%, because you still won't be happy because your core needs cannot be met. So We got to start asking, the harder questions and find out what our, top 5 core needs are. And then the other stuff you ask yourself, can I compromise on those things? So most of us, we got nice, good people in our lives that want to be with us and want to marry us and all those wonderful things, but we're holding them to compromisable things versus core needs because we have not identified core needs. We go by what society says that we as women should want. Men too. What do you say? $50,000 a year equates to $18,000 spendable income for most. If you are looking for money, you have to be educated. Well, it all depends, because I can take $50,000 and work it on out because I'm an entrepreneur and I don't think like someone that makes $50,000 on a job. I think differently. So I can take that same $50,000 and flip it and turn it into $250,000. So it all depends on the individual as well too. So do you have to be educated? You should have a level of education, but education does not necessarily mean you have to go to a 4-year college to be educated. So we have to get out of that as well too. That goes back to when you find out who you are at your core, you will find out what you need versus what they say you should need. Like my children, they're all different. My daughter, she's in college, but she will be an entrepreneur. She finishes up next year. My middle son, he's probably my brainiac, but he's like, my college is not for me. He learns differently. He went to the Marines. My youngest son, we've helped him identify who he is and what he's good at. So he wants to go to school for construction management and to become an architect. So the only reason why I investing and sending them to college is because I already know who they are at their core. It made no sense for me to send them off to college and they don't know who they are, because they could have done better with maybe you need some on-the-job training, an apprenticeship, some vocational school, something like that. Everybody's way of getting educated is not the same. So that goes back to who you are at your core. I know I couldn't sit in no college for no 4, 5, and 6 years. That wasn't my way. But am I educated? Absolutely. Have I made more money than most people that I know that's in $100,000 and $200,000 worth of debt from going to college and they not working in the field that they went to school for? Absolutely. But that's because I started to learn who April was at her core, so I can make better decisions for my life versus what they say we're supposed to do. So you got to ask yourself, that. That was a good point. For those of you that are serial college students and you 40 years old, you still in and out of college, stop. Ask yourself, who am I at my core? Am I trying to just take a job because they say this pays well, or should I be doing something else? You will never know until you know who you are at your core. So not only are you settling in relationships, but you're settling in your life. Every area of your life you're settling on, but you're going for goals and things that they say, whoever they are, you should have. And so you have to take the time and get off the wheel. You're like a hamster going around the wheel, like a hamster doing the same thing because they say. But if you do not take some time to find out, what is it that I really want? What is it that I really need in my life? If you're not doing that, you're wasting your time. Anyway, I had to jump off the hamster wheel and do what was right for April and April's family. And so, I talked to you guys about this before. I found out after my 2 years of leaving everything, because I got quiet from 2004 to 2016. I found out a lot about myself because I took the time to find out who I am at my core. And what I found is I'm a very beta domesticated woman at home. Yes, in business, I like to, do what I got to do to feed my family. But if it wasn't for me having to feed my family like that, I probably would be somewhere being a housewife, building an empire with my husband. That's who I am. But I did not know that about me until I took the time to sit down and find out, wait a minute, April, yes, you are an influential woman. Yes, you have traveled and done some things, wrote some books. But did you do that because you set up out of your life to do that? Or did you do that because it fell into your lap and you ran with the opportunity, but at any given moment you can give it up? And I had to ask myself the hard questions, and that was my answer. All of this is great coming to you guys before social media and doing all that. That's wonderful, but that's not who I am at my core. So this goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's not just about in love relationships. It's about your entire life. You got to ask yourself, what kind of person am I? What kind of man am I? What kind of woman, what kind of woman am I? What do I really stand for? What do I really believe? What is it? And when you start asking yourself those hard questions, you will start operating differently, functioning differently. So you will get off of the hamster wheel of what they say you should be doing. And so for me, I get a lot of people that say, girl, you get so many opportunities. What is the problem? Why don't you do? You could do this. You could be on that. You could have your own talk show. You could do. I understand I can. But that was never what I really wanted. I just decided, well, now let me check out these opportunities and see if they work. But at any given moment, I can walk away from them because I know who I am at my core, and that does not make me. Okay? So ask yourself, do I know who I am at my core? And am I settling? Or am I settling without knowing it? Or do I really have a standard? If I don't know who I am, how could I know if I'm settling or not? Know yourself at your core. Find out what you like, what you don't like, what you need. And you might find that your life is something totally different. You might find that the very things that you've been going after, you really don't want to go after that. That's not what you ever wanted. That you realize, I don't want that. Like that's why I don't subscribe to the boss chick and the boss bitch, the movement, because I never wanted to be a boss chick like that. That was never my thing. I just happened to fall into the category of a woman that was influential and on the forefront. But that was never my desire. So when you understand that opportunities will come, and you could decide if you want to take the opportunities. But when you know the opportunities and the things don't make you, it's not a big deal. You kind of just, roll with them. Like I said, I'll be on set all day tomorrow filming for a new television show. This was an opportunity. Was it anything that I set out to do? Nope. Opportunity came. If it worked, it worked. If it don't, it don't. Because at the end of the day, that was not April's thing. People have asked, did you want to be an author? Did you want to be a speaker? Did you want to do? Nope. That was never my thing. I wanted to have a family, build an empire with my husband, and build his stuff behind the scenes and push him out there. I'm okay behind the scenes. I just happen to be able to do, both things. And so as long as little mama, mortgage is paid, she got the car to drive, daddy makes sure I eat, and I can go shopping here and there, I'm okay. So you got to ask yourself, what defines you? And so even though others may see, girl, you could just be making so much money and doing all of these things, do I really want to do that? But the only way to figure that out is knowing who you are at your core. And once I realized who I was at my core, it was like, April, this is good, but I just be moseying along, and it just be so funny to the people, the powers that be, that it's like, girl, we can this is that, and I'll be like, yeah, well, we can figure it out. But if it don't work, that's fine too, because at my core, I'm not that, because I know that. That's right there. That's all most of us want. Make sure the mortgage paid. I got something to drive. Daddy make sure gas is in the car. He fill the car up on Sundays. And I can function. I'm happy living that life. But I did not get to that until I had to take a time and sit down and find out who April was. And so from there, like I said, that it works. That is me, but is that good? Why would it not be good if it's you, Miss Drayton? Why would it not? If that's who you want, if that's who you are at your core, it's okay to be that. It's okay to be a woman that wants to build with her family. We have made it wrong. We have made it where the woman, she got to go out, she got to live her life. No, I live my life. I'm not restricted. I can still do whatever it is that I want to do. But where my heart is might be somewhere different. So it doesn't make it wrong if that's what you want to do. But it only makes it wrong when you're trying to talk yourself out of that. It's okay. It's okay if that's what you want to be. We have been put in positions, and the women that we have leading us in this day, it's all girl power, girl power. There's nothing wrong with girl power, but find out who you are at your core. Don't let the girl power take you right up on out of your femininity and being what a woman actually is. I'm just the type that likes to be a housewife and take care of the house and build with my husband. That's just me. Every woman isn't like that. Every woman may not be that way. You might be that ambitious woman that want to get out there and I want to leave my mark on the world. And I was on a set not too long ago and somebody said, I just want to be known. I said, known for what? What do you want to be known for? Why? So when you ask yourself those hard questions, you might be living a life that you're forcing yourself into, and you wonder why your spirit ain't never at ease because you're trying to be something that you're really not. To be honest with you, when I wrote my first book in 2000, I wrote my first ebook in 2004, but when I came out with my life story book in 2010, I realized, being on a speaker, being on the circuit, doing all those things, I don't like being in the airport all the time. I didn't like going from city to city to city and having to do that. Now I can make a choice. That's why I'm doing my free women's empowerment seminar for free over the summer. But I chose to do it only during the summer. I don't have to do that in the fall and the winter if I don't want to, because I found out who I am at my core. So I don't need to do all of that ripping and running. April, you don't like airports. I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day, and we were talking about Dubai, and I said, well, Dubai would be nice, but honey, I don't know if I want to take that 20-hour or however long it is, So that's just my thing. So let your thing be your thing, but it can only shine through when you sit down and write out what you are, what makes you move, what makes you tick, what things do you get upset about, what things, clench your spirit. Those normally are the things that are core things. So I'm okay, being me. I'm okay with being me. And you got to be okay with being you. But the only way to get there and to change from, if you're single, your relationship stuff, from your career that you're in, everything around you will change when you figure out who you are, at your core. I'm thinking about opening up my gift basket store again. My friends are like, you? But then the ones that, acquaintances say that, but my friends who know me from the core, April, they're like, that's you. That's been you all the time. You always owned a gift basket store and a candy bouquet store. That's just you. So my friends they know me from that standpoint, because I like arts and craftsy types things. I might start doing some DIY projects, but that's what I like. So you got to ask yourself, who am I at my core? And am I settling already in every area of my life because I have not found out who I am at my core? What is my standard? Do I really have a standard if I don't know me? So, love you guys. Talk to you soon. And make sure you go to areyouanasset.com and become a sponsor, as well as join me in Atlanta June 25th and in the Bay Area July 30th. Because, ladies, we're going to talk about this thing. We got to get back to our rightful positions. Not saying doormats, not saying pushovers, not saying somebody that can be dominated. But being submissive is not a bad word if you truly understand what it really is. See you later. Bye.